Amid the misty Himalayas lies a hidden kingdom, where progress is not measured by money, but by happiness. I first learned of Bhutan through the memoir Beyond the Sky and the Earth by Jamie Zeppa, a Canadian woman who left everything behind to live here. Her story left me wondering, how can a small nation, cradled by such formidable mountains, teach the world the meaning of happiness? That curiosity set me on a journey. And among the sound of temple bells on cliffside monasteries, golden wheat fields, and the warm smiles of the Bhutanese, I began to realize that true happiness lies not in what we possess, but in how we live. My 5-day journey through Bhutan was more than a trip. It felt like a slow river carrying me through layers of the soul. Day 1. Paro, a small town tucked inside a valley, the gateway to Bhutan. Day 2. Tiger's Nest, a monastery perched on the cliff, the nation's most iconic symbol. Day 3. Punakha, with its majestic fortress. Day 4. Thimphu, the capital, modern yet still breathing in meditation. The last day, back to Paro, where it all began and where it all came to an end. Spring in Bhutan felt unlike anywhere else. Morning mist still blanketed the valleys, and a gentle breeze stirred the temple chimes. On the road to Punakha, we stopped at what seemed an unremarkable place, but one that stayed with me forever. Tamchog Lakong. This small temple rests quietly by the Paro River. It was built in the 15th century by Thangtong Gyalpo, a great lama, a brilliant architect, and the legendary iron bridge builder of the Himalayas. He was remembered not only for connecting rivers with chains of iron, but for connecting people through faith and compassion. Before me stood his original iron bridge. Rusted chains, wooden planks too frail to cross. Today, no one is allowed to step on it, yet it still stands, fragile but proud, a relic of time. A newer bridge now carries travelers across, but I was drawn to the old one. It felt like an artifact, both vulnerable and enduring. I lingered there for a long while. Beneath me, the Paro River rushed in white foam. Above, mountains rose like natural fortress walls embracing the temple. And in that moment, I understood. Happiness is not always about novelty or brilliance. Sometimes it is about values preserved and carried through centuries, like that bridge, like that temple. As we approached Punakha, the road was slowly overtaken by a strange and gentle purple. Jacaranda trees lined the path, their blossoms falling like soft purple rain. The Bhutanese believe these flowers awaken the mind, like a quiet reminder to slow down, to live deeper. Amid the purple haze, Punakha Dzong appeared. Built in 1637, this fortress stands at the confluence of the sacred Pho Chu and Mo Chu rivers. From afar, it looked like an ancient ship anchored between river and mountain. Crossing the intricately carved wooden gates, I felt time stand still. Towering white walls, red-brown roofs glistening in spring light, and the echo of chanting from somewhere unseen. This was where kings were crowned, where royal weddings took place, and where sacred rituals continue to this day. Yet in that moment, history disappeared. Only silence remained. Walking down its wooden corridors, purple shadows of jacaranda stretched at my feet, while beams of sunlight streamed through narrow windows above. Inside me rose a feeling of being small, yet completely full. Perhaps Punakha Dzong is not just a fortress. Perhaps it is a mirror, reflecting one's own soul. And I realized, in a noisy world, sometimes healing begins with silence. That night, back at our hotel in Punakha, I heard music and laughter drifting across the courtyard. A group of Indian tourists were gathered around a fire while Bhutanese guides sang and danced. Seeing us walk by, they waved and called, "Come, join us!" At first, I hesitated. Different languages, different cultures. Would I fit in? But then a hand reached out, pulling me into the circle, and suddenly every distance vanished. We clapped together to the rhythm of the drum circling the fire. I didn't understand the lyrics, but the bright eyes of the Bhutanese seemed to say, "Here, you are not a guest. You are part of this circle." In the firelight I saw true smiles. No glowing screens, no loud electronic music, only raw voices, the whisper of mountain wind, and footsteps moving as one. That night I learned, happiness isn't always a lofty idea. Sometimes it's as simple as holding a stranger's hand, laughing together, singing together, and feeling your heart grow warm. This is how Bhutan connects people, not through language, not through formality, but through genuine presence. The next morning, our plan was to visit a famous temple, but on the narrow road into the village, I stopped. Before me stretched a golden wheat field ready for harvest. Farmers bent under the soft sun, cutting sheaves with swift movements. Sweat gleamed on their sun-browned faces. No tourist signs, no crowds, just earth, sky, and the quiet rhythm of work. I stood watching for a long time. Then a thought rose within me. This too is a temple. Not one built of stone or gilded wood, but a temple of nature and human hands. Each bending motion was like a ritual bow. Each drop of sweat falling to the earth was a prayer for the next harvest, for family, for life itself. I stepped down into the field, greeting the farmers with a smile and nod. Though we spoke no common language, their eyes lit up. One farmer handed me a freshly cut bundle of wheat. I held it, smelled its earthy fragrance, felt its heavy weight, abundance born not from machines, but from toil and care. In that moment, I realized the sacred is not only in temple bells, but in the sound of a sickle slicing through stalks of wheat. The Bhutanese do not separate life from spirituality. For them, the field is also a place of practice. Labor is another form of meditation. I never entered the temple on our schedule, but I knew I had just visited another temple, one woven of fields, smiles, and the sweat of Bhutan's people. The road from Punakha to Thimphu carried me across Dochula Pass, more than 3,100 meters high. Stepping out of the car, I felt as though I had entered another realm. Before me, 108 white chortens stood in a circle atop the hill, wrapped in heavy mist. They were built to honor Bhutanese soldiers who died in a border conflict. Yet what struck me most was not triumph, but tenderness. There were no drums, no grand monuments, only white stupas, quiet as candles burning in the sky. I sat on the stone steps, watching mist curl around them. In the cold seeping into my skin, I felt a warmth rise, as if grief itself was being cradled by silence. Then the mist cleared, and the Himalayas appeared in the distance. Among them towered Gangkar Puensum, the highest unclimbed mountain in the world. Not because it is too dangerous, but because Bhutan forbids it. To them, the peak is sacred. I thought, elsewhere people boast of conquering mountains. In Bhutan, they are proud to bow before them. On Dochula Pass, I understood, happiness is not always found in reaching higher or having more. Sometimes happiness is knowing when to let go of conquest and simply behold the untouched beauty of creation. North of Thimphu, I visited the Taken Reserve. The Bhutanese call this creature their national symbol. At first glance, I was puzzled. The body like a cow, the head like a goat, its gait slow and heavy as if carrying an ancient tale on its back. The guide told me the old story. Drukpa Kunli, the divine madman, once ate both a goat and a cow, then joined their remains and breathed life into them. Thus, the Taken was born. I laughed at the strangeness of it, but when I met its gaze, my laughter faded. In those deep, still eyes, I saw something older than language. It felt as if the Taken looked through me, touching something distant within my soul. A quiet presence, enough to silence my heart. That afternoon, I visited the Buddha Dordenma statue, a golden bronze figure rising 51 meters high, watching over Thimphu Valley. The Bhutanese believe that inside are more than 125,000 smaller Buddhas, each holding a prayer. Stepping inside, I found darkness lit only by thousands of butter lamps. I heard my heartbeat, merging with chants that seemed to echo from another world. I felt as though countless unseen eyes were watching, not to judge, but to remind me, be kind, be content, be awake. In that moment, Bhutan no longer felt like a country. It felt like a sacred realm, where humans, nature, and the divine are never separate. After days wandering among mountains, monasteries, fields, and smiles, I began to see Bhutan's happiness is not from one single source. It is like a tapestry woven from many threads, each holding the whole together. The first thread is geography. Deep in the Himalayas, Bhutan's isolation has shielded it from conquest, but more importantly, preserved its culture, as if time itself has been slowed. The second thread is policy. While the world chases GDP, Bhutan chose another path, gross national happiness. Economic growth is just one part, balanced with cultural preservation, environmental protection, and good governance. Healthcare and education are free, easing burdens and nurturing equality. And the most vital thread, the people. The Bhutanese are gentle, slow-living, choosing kindness in the smallest of acts. They don't need much to feel enough, for they already have nature, family, and inner peace. With more than 3/4 following Vajrayana Buddhism, spirituality is not confined to altars. It is in every breath, every step, every meal. They chant in the morning, meditate in the evening, and contemplate death, not with fear, but as a reminder to live more deeply now. As I write these words, I realize Bhutan's secret of happiness is not mystical, not far away. It is simple. It is the way they choose to live, a way of pausing, preserving, and loving. Every land in this world holds a lesson for us. Some teach of strength and war. Others teach compassion and love. Still others teach wealth and the limits of materialism. Bhutan, to me, feels like the final classroom, a place where, after the soul has traveled through all joys and sorrows, it arrives to learn simplicity, kindness, and unconditional happiness. I remember the eyes of the farmer bending over golden wheat, the smile of a Bhutanese inviting me into the fire circle, the temple bells of Tiger's Nest echoing in the wind, and the solemn gaze of the taken in the forest. All of them, to me, are fragments of one message. Happiness is not a destination. It is the way we live in every single moment. Leaving Bhutan, I knew I carried home more than photos or memories. I carried a mirror to reflect on my own life, to see that perhaps we do not need as much as we think. We only need to pause, to connect, and to love. And that, I believe, is the greatest gift Bhutan offers the world.